From translation, Net New English Translation, this 119th day of the year, today we are reading passages 2 Kings 23-25, 2 Kings chapter 23, verses 1 to 37. The king summoned all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. The king went up to the Lord's temple, accompanied by all the people of Judah, all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests and the prophets. Everyone read, from the youngest to the oldest, the scroll of the covenant that was found in the Lord's temple. The king stood by the pillar and renewed the covenant before the Lord, to follow the Lord and to keep his commandments, his laws, and his statutes with all his heart and all his soul, to carry out the words of this covenant that were written in this scroll. All the people renewed the covenant. The king ordered Hilkiah the high priest, the priests of the second rank, and the guards to bring out of the Lord's temple all the items made for Baal, Asherah, and all the stars of the sky. The king burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley, and carried their ashes to Bethel. He eliminated the pagan priests, whom the kings of Judah had appointed to offer sacrifices on the high places in the cities of Judah and in the area surrounding Jerusalem, as well as those who offered sacrifices to Baal, to the sun, to the moon, to the constellations, and to all the stars of the sky. He removed the Asherah from the Lord's temple, and removed from the temple all the items made for Baal worship, the stars of the sky, and all the other images. He burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley, and carried their ashes to Bethel. He tore down the altars that were on the roof of Ahaz's upper room, as well as the altars Manasseh had made in the 2 courtyards of the Lord's temple. The king broke them down and smashed them there. He demolished the high places of the gates at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the city official. These high places were at the entrance of the gate of the city. He tore them down from there. The king ordered Hilkiah the high priest, the priests of the second rank, and the guards to bring out of the Lord's temple all the items made for Baal, Asherah, and all the stars of the sky. The king burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley, and carried their ashes to Bethel. The high places were removed from the cities of Judah, but the priests from the high places did not go up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem. Instead, they ate unleavened bread among their fellow priests. The king defiled Topheth in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so that no one could sacrifice a son or daughter in the fire to Molech. He removed the horses that the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun at the entrance of the Lord's temple. He burned the chariots dedicated to the sun near the gate of the courtyard that went to the Lord's temple. The altars on the roof of Ahaz's upper chamber, which the kings of Judah had made, and the altars Manasseh had built in the 2 courtyards of the Lord's temple, the king tore down. He smashed them there and threw their rubble into the Kidron Valley. The king also desecrated the high places east of Jerusalem, to the south of the Mount of Corruption, which King Solomon of Israel had built for Ashtoreth, the detestable goddess of the Sidonians, and for Chemosh, the detestable god of Moab, and for Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He smashed the sacred pillars, cut down the Asherah poles, and filled their places with human bones. The king also desecrated the altar at Bethel, the high place made by Jeroboam son of Nebat, who had caused Israel to sin. He burned all the high places, even though the altar at Bethel was rebuilt. Josiah looked and saw the tombs there on the mountain. He had the bones removed from them and burned on the altar. He defiled it in accordance with the Lord's declaration that the man of God had proclaimed, which the man of God had proclaimed when Jeroboam stood by the altar at the festival. So Josiah turned and defiled the altar, and he burned human bones on it. Just as he had done at Bethel, Josiah did to all the high places that the kings of Israel had made in the cities of Samaria, to offer sacrifices. He slaughtered all the priests of the high places who were there on the altars, and burned human bones on them. Then he returned to Jerusalem. In the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover was observed to the Lord in Jerusalem. In the days of King Josiah, the book of the law was found in the Lord's temple. Hilkiah the priest gave the scroll to Shaphan the secretary, who then read it to the king. The king went up to the Lord's temple, accompanied by all the people of Judah, all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests and the prophets. Everyone from the least to the greatest read the scroll of the covenant that had been found in the Lord's temple. As they read the scroll, the king stood by the pillar and renewed the covenant before the Lord to follow the Lord and to keep his commandments, his laws, and his statutes with all his heart and all his soul, so as to carry out the words of this covenant written in this scroll. All the people agreed to the covenant. The king ordered Hilkiah the high priest, the priests of the second rank, and the guards to bring out of the Lord's temple all the items made for Baal, Asherah, and all the stars of the sky. The king burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley, and carried their ashes to Bethel. There had never been a king like Josiah before him, nor would one arise like him after him. He turned to the Lord with all his heart, with all his soul, and with all his strength, in accordance with all the law of Moses, and no king like him arose after him. But the Lord did not turn from his great anger, which burned against Judah, because of all the things Manasseh had done to provoke him to anger. The rest of the events of Josiah's reign, all he did, are not recorded in the scroll of the history of the kings of Judah. During his reign, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up to the king of Assyria at the Euphrates River. King Josiah went to confront him, and Necho killed him at Megiddo when he saw him. Josiah's servants carried his body in a chariot from Megiddo to Jerusalem and buried him in his own tomb. The people of the land took Jehoahaz son of Josiah and anointed him, and made him king in his father's place. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. Jehoiakim king of Egypt deposed him, and made the land pay 100 talents of silver and 1 talent of gold as tribute. Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim son of Josiah king in Josiah's place. He changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. But Jehoahaz he took to Egypt, where he died. Jehoiakim paid Pharaoh Necho the silver and gold he demanded. At that time Pharaoh Necho deposed Jehoahaz and made Jehoiakim king over Judah and Jerusalem. He changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim son of Josiah king in Josiah's place. He changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. But Jehoahaz he took to Egypt, where he died. Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim son of Josiah king in Josiah's place. He changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. But Jehoahaz he took to Egypt, where he died. Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim son of Josiah king in Josiah's place. He changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. But Jehoahaz he took to Egypt, where he died. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebudah, daughter of Pedaiah from Rumah. He did evil in the sight of the Lord his God. He did evil in the sight of the Lord according to all his ancestors had done. 2 Kings chapter 24, verses 1 to 20. During his reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon attacked Jehoiakim. For 3 years Jehoiakim was subject to him. Then Nebuchadnezzar turned back and took some items from the temple of the Lord to Babylon. The Lord sent raiding parties from Babylon, Aram, Moab, and Ammon against Jehoiakim to destroy Judah, in fulfillment of the Lord's word spoken by his servants the prophets. Surely these things happened to Judah according to the Lord's command, in order to remove them from his presence, because of the sins of Manasseh, according to all he had done. Indeed, the innocent blood he shed filled Jerusalem, for the Lord would not forgive it. The rest of the events of Jehoiakim's reign, the evil he did, and all that happened to him, are not recorded in the scroll of the history of the kings of Judah. Jehoiakim rested with his ancestors. His son Jehoiachin replaced him as king. The king of Egypt did not march out from his land again, for the king of Babylon had taken all that belonged to the king of Egypt, from the stream of Egypt to the Euphrates River. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem for 3 months. His mother's name was Nehushta, daughter of Elnathan, from Jerusalem. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all his ancestors had done. At that time, the servants of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon attacked Jerusalem and the surrounding cities. The king and his advisers gave him the city after it had been under siege. Then King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came to the city, while his servants were besieging it. King Jehoiachin of Judah, along with his mother, his servants, his officials, and his eunuchs surrendered to the king of Babylon. The king of Babylon, in the 8th year of his reign, took Jehoiachin prisoner. Nebuchadnezzar took from there all the treasures of the Lord's temple and the royal palace. He stripped all the gold items which King Solomon of Israel had made for the Lord's temple, just as the Lord had predicted. He deported all the residents of Jerusalem, including all the officials and all the soldiers, 10,000 captives in all. He also deported all the skilled workers and blacksmiths. Only the poorest people of the land remained. Nebuchadnezzar deported Jehoiachin to Babylon. He also took the king's mother, the king's wives, his officials, and the leading men of the land into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. The king of Babylon deported all 7,000 select troops, 1,000 skilled workers and blacksmiths, and all the other skilled professionals. Only the poorest people of the land remained. The king of Babylon made Mattaniah, Jehoiachin's uncle, king in his place. He changed Mattaniah's name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he ruled for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. Indeed, Jerusalem and all the towns of Judah were doomed to be destroyed because of the anger of the Lord, in fulfillment of his word, announced by his servants the prophets. The land experienced the desolation of total exile. 2 Kings chapter 25, verses 1 to 30. In the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon advanced against Jerusalem with his entire army. They besieged the city and constructed siege works all around it. The city was under siege until King Zedekiah's 11th year. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine in the city was so severe that there was no food for the people of the land. The city wall was breached. The king and all the soldiers fled at night through the gate between the two walls near the king's garden. Although the Babylonian army was surrounding the city, the king and his men escaped along the route to the Arabah. But the Babylonian army pursued the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho. All his soldiers were scattered from him. The army captured King Zedekiah and brought him to the king of Babylon at Riblah. The king passed sentence on him. They executed Zedekiah's sons before his eyes. They executed all the officials of Judah at Riblah. Then they put out Zedekiah's eyes, bound him in bronze chains, and led him away to Babylon. On the 7th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the royal guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He burned the Lord's temple, the royal palace, and all the houses in Jerusalem. Every large building was burned down. The entire Babylonian army that was with the captain of the guard tore down all the walls of Jerusalem. The rest of the people who were left in the city, the deserters who had defected to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the people, Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard deported. But the captain of the guard left behind some of the poorest people of the land to tend the fields and vineyards. The Babylonians broke the 2 bronze pillars that were in the Lord's temple, as well as the movable stands and the large bronze sea that were in the temple of the Lord, and they carried the bronze to Babylon. They also took the pots, shovels, trimming knives, all the bronze items used in temple worship, the firepans and the sprinkling bowls, which were made of gold and of bronze. The captain of the guard took away the bowls, the incense holders, the trimming knives, the lampstands, the ladles, and the firepans, whatever was made of gold and whatever was made of silver. The 2 pillars, the large bronze sea, and the movable stands, which Solomon had made for the Lord's temple, the bronze of all these items was beyond weigh. Each pillar was about 27 feet high. The bronze capital on top of each pillar was about 7½ feet high, and was decorated with a filigree network and pomegranates of bronze all around. The second pillar had the same, with pomegranates. The captain of the guard took Sariah the chief priest, Zephaniah the priest of the 2nd rank, and the 3 doorkeepers. From the city he took an official who was in charge of the soldiers, 5 royal advisers who were found in the city, the army secretary who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men who were common citizens of the land who were found in the city. Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. The king of Babylon executed them and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was exiled from its land. He made Gedaliah son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, governor over the people who remained in the land of Judah. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, appointed him and put him in charge of the people of the land. When all the army commanders and their men heard that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah as governor, they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah. Ishmael son of Nethaniah, Johanan son of Kareah, Sariah son of Tanhumeth the Netophathite, and Jaazaniah son of the Marcathite. But in the 7th month, Ishmael son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, who was a member of the royal family, came with 10 men and assassinated Gedaliah. Also, along with him, they killed the Judeans and the Babylonians who were with him at Mizpah. All the people, both small and great, and the army commanders, got up and went to Egypt, because they were afraid of the Babylonians. In the 37th year of the exile of King Jehoiachin of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, evil Merodach king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, pardoned King Jehoiachin of Judah and released him from prison. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat of honor above the other kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin changed his prison clothes. For the rest of his life he ate at the king's table. As for his allowance, a regular allowance was given to him by the king of Babylon, as long as he lived, until the day he died.